So hello again, everybody. Jonathan here again, and right now, instead of playing, I'm actually going to talk a little bit about practice techniques and some tips and tricks, both for beginners and advanced students of music. So I kind of made a top five in no particular order, but here we go. I might have a bonus one too. We'll see. So here's number one for practicing better. The first thing, always learn your pieces or any other kind of musical devices slowly and methodically before you try to play it at tempo. Too often, people try when they get a new piece, they want to play it like the recording they've heard and play it fast and try to learn it fast because they're going to have to play it fast. Your brain doesn't work that way. It needs time to adjust itself, get the muscle memory happening, understand the music. And if you practice it slowly, I promise you, you can build on that and get faster as you go. There's something actually called a practice pyramid. So if you imagine like a pyramid, like a, Egyptian pyramid or a triangle or whatever, Mayan pyramid if you want. You want the bottom, which is like the biggest part, to be about 50-60% speed practice and more of that than any of the other practice. And as you go up, you get faster, you do less reps, faster, less reps, until at the top, when you're playing as fast as you want to go or faster, you actually do a lot less reps than you do at the bottom at 50 or 60%, if that makes sense. So practice slowly. Number two, start your practice not always at the beginning of the piece, but sometimes in the middle or near the end. A lot of my students, what'll happen is when they get their solo and ensemble piece or whatever else they're working on, the beginning will be great, like the first quarter of it, the first third of it. But as we get into the middle or even near the end, sometimes it just is very clear they haven't practiced it as much. And I think some of that is just when people get out to practice, they open their music to the beginning and they just start at the beginning, like they're reading a book the same place every time. I would encourage you not to do that and to try to find different places to start or different target passages to work on each time, and just make sure that like both the middle and the end are just as polished as the beginning. Number three, practice rhythms. So instead of just playing your music, let's say you had a passage and it's like da 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 da. Instead of always playing it just the way it's written, sometimes it helps your brain and your muscle memory and like the synapses in your brain to form when you do it in different ways. So again, da 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 could be like da 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 or da 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 or da 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 da. There's a multitude of different articulations or rhythms you can try, and you kind of put it over the rhythm that's already there and practice it that way. And I bet you that when you do that and you start working that into your practice, you'll learn passages faster. Number four, playing your music in smaller chunks that you're having trouble with and then working it back in. So if you have a trouble passage, of course, as most teachers would say, you have to isolate it and practice it. But in addition to doing that with the practice rhythms and slowly, like I've talked about already, you do want to make sure that you knit it back in. I think of it sort of like as a quilt. Like if you get one little patch of it really great, that's awesome. But if it doesn't connect to the rest of the music, when you get to that passage when you're playing it, it's probably going to be hard to execute well. So make sure you both isolate a part and practice it in different ways, but also work it back into the music before it and after it, so that it's all seamless and you know it's coming and you have a plan when you get there. And then five is record yourself. That's probably the hardest thing for people. No one likes listening to themselves play, even me. I hate it. Well, I don't hate it, but it's humbling. Let me say that. So you have to, though. If you want to get better, you need to listen back and find those little things that you need to work on. Because sometimes when you're practicing, you don't notice everything that you're doing wrong. And that's okay. It's very natural. But recording yourself is the best way to fix that. And then finally, just as a bonus one, I would encourage students to listen to the music that they're playing. So if you're a violinist and you're wanting to learn Baroque music, like make sure you're checking out Bach and Vivaldi and all those other things. If you're a jazz saxophone player, make sure you're listening to the greats like Charlie Parker and Coltrane and all them. Listening is very important too. So those are just some quick tips, and I hope that helps some people out there practice better or become better musicians.